DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook Live show here, breaking down today's 12-game main slate over on DraftKings, FanDuel, wherever you're playing. James and I are here to take you through player by player, position by position, breaking it all down, helping you guys hopefully make some money heading into the weekend. Got to pay those fantasy football draft league fees that I'm sure many of you are going to be soon incurring, having to collect and pay out. So let James and I win you a little money here this evening. TJF, my friend, sir.
I was going to say the most important. I mean, you did say as we head into the weekend, and but like you could say that Thursday, Wednesday, getting closer. TJF was the most important part here, John, and obviously winning money. So I put those two things on the same level. TJF and winning money on Friday. Nothing better. I remember I had a back-to-back, nothing better than this. Back-to-back weekend, Friday night, Saturday night NBA sweat. I think it was like 2 years ago where I was like, wow, what a freaking weekend. Like I'm just out. I have back-to-back sweats going. I don't think I was home for either, not that this is relevant at all, but I just figured I'd share. There are a few things better than the weekend sweat because, a lot of us, some of us aren't waking up, and shout out to those that are waking up on Saturdays and going to work and Sundays going to work. But a lot of us are just kicking back, relaxing, hoping to win some money while watching TV all day, right? Or just playing with our children or doing whatever you do.
Passive income, I think is what they call that, right?
Passive income, yeah. So, you know what? Nothing better than a little sweat on a weekend. So let's get it started for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. We got DePrince in chat here on time today. Happy to have you with us on a Friday. We'll get to your FanDuel questions, wondering who the top starter, it's Spencer Strider, and the value plays are today. We'll come across that, but probably J1 Bay and a few others. So stick with us today. If you have questions, get them in chat as you roll in here. But of course, we start every show. Early trigger pull on the
that was a little early
on the video,
just a little
RT Sports because listen, I'm trying to get out of here. It's Friday. We do have the RT Sports DFS pick and plays here. You go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users get a 100% deposit match up to $200 here. So James, let's just get to it. We'll bring up the screen here. We already did the intro. We don't need to rerun the intro video for those at home. We'll just get it going there and talk about tonight's slate. Big day of baseball here. Let's talk about our favorite DFS pick and plays over on RT Sports today.
Mark in chat, he's so lost
and confused. Listen, I'm lost and confused. I'm scared, but like IC3 you said here, let's have some fun tonight and win some money. Faisal's in chat. Faisal, apologies if I ever mispronounce your name here, but happy Friday to you as well. Thank you for joining us here today. All right, let's do it. Let's get into some RT Sports DFS pick and plays. Shouldn't we just go to San Francisco?
Yeah.
Do we have a Strider prop for us?
We do.
It's a big one, but I feel like we go more here. I feel like we go more than 9 strikeouts.
Yeah. I mean, coming off 10, which he's done 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times this year. He has done it against San Francisco as recent as 7 days ago, John. So 1 week ago on this day, Spencer Strider threw 7 one-hit innings and had 10 strikeouts against the Giants, and now gets to pitch in San Francisco. He's the cover boy of the show today, was the cover boy of our podcast today. I feel that is a joint decision there on the Spencer Strider strikeouts.
Yeah,
for sure.
Where's your next play?
I'm going to go to Baltimore, and I'm probably going to steal your thunder here, but that's okay. It happens all the time. I'm going to go Ryan Mountcastle more than 8.5 fantasy points against Kyle Freeland. Okay. We've talked about Ryan Mountcastle against left-handed pitching ad nauseum this year. 347 ISO, 456 WOBA, both lead the team by a significant margin. hitting second tonight. And righties are crushing Kyle Freeland to the tune of a 230 ISO, 387 WOBA. I expect Mountcastle to get this done nice and early for us.
Yep, I agree with you there. I'm going to go to another prolific strikeout artist here in this Minnesota-Texas game. And we're going to go with Dane Dunning.
Prolific strikeout.
More than 5 strikeouts here. What? He's got double-digit strikeouts in 2 of his last 4. He's gone over this total in 3 of his last 4 games here.
It's not letting me.
It's not letting. Wait.
Do you see this? Look, John. I'm just saying.
So refresh. Because mine says 5. Yours says 5.5.
I'm literally opening this pick'em every show, maybe 3 seconds before we open the screen.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's roll it back. Let's go to Texas, Minnesota.
Strider more.
And do we have 5?
There it is. There you go.
Even better for us here. We're going to roll the over here. Minnesota, the highest strikeout rate in baseball against right-handed pitching, and it just never really changes here. Highest strikeout in baseball over the last year. For the year, last 14 days, last 30 days, they're right there. It's like a 28% strikeout rate. And like I said, Dane Dunning has given us double-digit strikeouts in 2 of his last 4 starts, and he's gone over this in 3 or 4. So give me the Dunning over 5 strikeouts.
Prolific strikeout artist.
Prolific strikeout artist, Dane Dunning.
Do you got anything else? Do you want to? I'm good on those unless you got something else.
I have one more. Let's go over to the now this is a game that kicks off at 6:40. But let's go to Houston, Detroit. Matt Manning on the mound here for Detroit, which means I love me some Kyle Tucker. More than 6.5 fantasy points. Should be an easy play today. That's the 4 pick.
Yeah,
4 pick, 10x. Strider more than 9 strikeouts. Dunning more than 5 strikeouts. Mountcastle more than 8.5 fantasy score. Kyle Tucker more than 6.5 fantasy score this evening. Good luck to everybody who's playing it. Hopefully, Mark not too disoriented reading the screen, and we can hopefully win everybody a little bit of money with some RT Sports DFS pick and plays. Again, if you haven't yet already signed up over at RT Sports, you go to click on the QR code here, scan it, click on the link in the description of the show, go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users get the 100% deposit match up to $200. All right, turn the table, figure it out. Going on over to DraftKings, breaking down the slate. 12 games on tap here. Going to look at the weather, things to watch this evening. I live just outside of the city of Boston here. It is raining right now. It's going to be raining off and on. When we looked at the weather report this morning, it didn't look great. It was basically given like 70% chance of rain all day in the city. But it's all really about where these storm systems kind of roll through. If you go over and look at the Kevin Roth weather report, he thinks a lot of the storm systems just move around the ballpark, but not impacting the ballpark, which means this game could play. But there's obviously it is going to be raining. That's just the fact of the matter here. If a storm ends up going over the stadium, they could call it. It's the beginning of a weekend series here. They could run a doubleheader. That being said, it's LA Dodgers versus the Boston Red Sox here. They're not going to really have another opportunity to play each other again. So, if they'll doubleheader or bust probably if they don't get this one in. But that's something you have to at least watch tonight, because I know a lot of people kind of want to go into this game here against Dodgers in Boston. Other games with weather, not as nearly pressing. When you look at the St. Louis, Philly, or Colorado, Baltimore game, again, going to be rain early in the area, but nothing that's expected to really impact these games all that much. So they should be pretty much in the clear. Texas, Minnesota does have wind blowing out 10 to 15 miles an hour. I know I like to Dane Dunning their strikeouts, but he is generally a ground ball pitcher, if not a strikeout artist. So if he's not getting guys to swing and miss, he's having them pound the ball into the dirt. So I don't think I'm too worried about the Twins' power here, but we know they certainly hit a lot of home runs. And that's really it when it comes to weather for tonight.
Yeah. Look, the LA Dodgers game is obviously the one we need, and the Red Sox need to be the ones we're keeping our eyes on, because the Dodgers are like the most popular team on the board tonight. And I don't think that's necessarily surprising. They have the highest implied team total. They're one of the highest roster teams. And Mookie Betts is looking to capitalize on what might be an MVP season at this point, right?
Sure.
He might be finding his way into the MVP race. So into the MVP lead, I should say. So definitely keep your eyes out on that one. That's John.
We'll do our friends a solid over here at Cover, since I didn't make the graphic for today. So we'll just share the covers board for everybody to take a look at some spreads and totals here. What's sticking out to you today, sir, when it comes to game totals and spreads?
I mean, 10.5 implied runs in Dodgers, Boston, 10 on some sports books, heavy lean on the over where it is 10.5 on others. It's obviously what stands out, I would say, the most. 9 implied runs in Colorado, Baltimore, 9.5 in St. Louis, Philly. And I see, John, in that game, a lot of love on the over in the 9.5 too. Some sports books have it minus 120, plus 100 on the under 9.5. So like that's the only really things that we should be looking at in terms of over-unders, money line favorites. Baltimore, and we're going to talk about their starter and the ownership that he is garnering tonight. But
Baltimore starter Cole Irvin is getting rostered.
We are going to discuss it for sure. Minus 225 is Cole Irvin in the Baltimore Orioles. And then Dylan Cease. Actually, I see minus 240 in some places for Baltimore. Dylan Cease around a 190 favorite. Those are the only two significant money line favorites on tonight's slate.
All right, let's break down this DraftKings main slate again. Everybody, if you have any questions, make sure to get them in chat for James and I'd be happy to break it down for you as we go over. Mark saying he added Bryce Harper to our RT Sports Pick and Play. I like Bryce Harper a lot today. Dude is getting into the rhythm here, and Miles Mikolas, no great.
Is not. It's not. Yeah.
Not great. Not great. All right. We talked about it on the stream this morning. Basically, we're just plugging Strider and figuring it out. We liked his over strikeout prop here today. Just faced his team, 7 innings, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts. I know sometimes people are worried about using a pitcher who just pitched against a team. Maybe they have an idea or a sense, or maybe they have the timing down on Strider. But again, that was 7 games ago. It's not like they just pitched.
Right.
They've had time to face other starters and all these. Like, I don't really buy necessarily into that. Strider has just been very elite. So to me, this just feels like a plugged Strider, figure out the rest of your lineup. And there's definitely enough value on the board to get in Strider and build a pretty good lineup with a couple of spend ups in that lineup today. So, that's kind of where I'm at. But if you're not using Strider today, thoughts on Woodruff, Senga, Lynn, Logan Webb, Sonny Gray, even Hunter Green is at 9K on this slate. In on anybody in this next tier?
Yeah, I would say I'm in a full agreement on the Strider front. I'm all in on Strider today. Honestly, the next guy and maybe the only pitcher I would consider getting to would be Kodai Senga. I mean, we've talked about him a lot this year. And earlier in the year, like, he never was bad, but he never was good either. Like, he wasn't as good as he was hyped up to be. But that's really shifted over the last few months, I'd say. And, that, speaks to his 2.78 ERA over his last 10 starts. Right. And it speaks to actually putting together starts on the road that are good. Like, one start, singular, because he did struggle against Kansas City and Boston in the 2 road starts prior. But it is worth noting, like, going into St. Louis, in the summer and just shutting them down. So I like the rhythm that he's in. I mean, we're talking about like 3 of the better offenses in baseball: Chicago, Atlanta, St. Louis. And he walked away with a win and 20 plus fantasy points and a quality start in each of those games, right? Yeah. And I think it's been the walks and at least limiting the walks, where it's just been 2 right? Like we can live with 2. If we're going to
Yeah.
get 6 innings, we can live with 2 walks from Kodai Senga. It's when he starts, like we saw earlier in the year, every start was 3 or 4 and we didn't even get 6 innings out of him. So
I like the pitch count too for him, like
yes.
99, 99, 85 against the Cubs, 107, 97. There's no short hook here with Kodai Senga. There's like, you and I sometimes will be sweating through certain things. It's like, he's at 87 pitches. Maybe he won't come out. No, he goes out. He goes and pitches the 6th or the 7th. So I like that about Senga, the ability to pitch deep into games here. I'm in agreement with you. Then we go down to the mid tier. We got a couple of questions. Mark wants to know, do we like Bibby here tonight? And then Michael's in chat saying Strider Bassett is today's combo. So both of those guys here, 83 and 8K. You did Spider-Man naming?
I was because they're facing each other. So I was Spider-Man.
Got it. So the question is here, if you had to pick one for preference, Tanner Bibby against the Blue Jays or Chris Bassett against the Guardians tonight, thoughts on those 2 pitchers?
I mean, it's probably Bassett. I don't like the Guardians lineup is pretty bad. Like I get
lost Will Brennan too, who's not like good, but I mean, when he was in your lineup and now you're taking him out, how much worse does it get?
Ramon Laureano is, I mean,
guy got DFA'd from Oakland. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. And like is one of those like clear cases that like steroids was obviously making a pretty big impact on like play, right? Because look what
he was a 30-20 guy on the roids. So.
Right. Like lefties obviously give Bassett the issues. And to Mark's point, we've picked on the Blue Jays with righties ad nauseum lately. And last night it kind of got, debunked where the Blue Jays gave Kyle Gibson a little issue. And the
Blue Jays are supposed to be better.
I know.
So
and that's what's like holding me up from like completely saying like, yes, I should be in on. Look, Bobby's been good. So like if you want to get there, sure. Bassett's also come around and is obviously facing the worst lineup. Cole Calhoun's hitting 3rd. Other than Jose Ramirez, like, yeah, Stephen Kwan is good. Like Stephen Kwan is a nice player, and I know he like just hit a home run, and I was about to poo-poo him for like hitting for no power, but like,
well, that's the one thing about this Guardians lineup that, if anything is to worry you at all, do we even have a lineup out officially yet? Yeah, we do. Yes. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties, 6 lefties in their lineup, 5 lefties in their lineup.
5 lefties, yeah.
I mean, that's obviously been the Achilles heel for Chris Bassett this year. I know, these aren't prolific power hitters. I mean, Jose Ramirez, obviously, and you just mentioned Kwan, just, might as well have just hit his first for all intents and purposes here. But like Cole Calhoun's been a 30 home run guy in this league before, many moons ago. I don't know. Like, they're not good lefties, but they are lefties. And this is the clear struggle point. And Chris Bassett against lefties this year has a 5.8 FIP, a 2.3 homer per 9, 538 slugging, 375 WOBA against left-handed hitters. So, I mean, these are bad left-handed hitters, but I don't know. Like, would it shock you if Cole Calhoun hits like a 2-run homer or something tonight? It wouldn't for me, but on the flip side, I think that Toronto has too much ceiling talent that Bibby, whatever, scares me a little bit. But Mark also is usually good with these things. So if Mark likes Tanner Bibby tonight, it's definitely not a hard no. I think both guys are probably playable in the mid tier tonight. And I see through you likes Bassett tonight as well with Strider. So it's definitely not a no on either side for me. It's just you look down the barrel of the lineup and you're looking at, Merrifield, Bichette, Beld, Vlad, Springer, Varsho. Like, these guys have all been hot or heating up. So it just feels like a tougher lineup to go up against tonight.
Yeah. I mean, look, Bobby's had 20 plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 6 games. And he's obviously been really good.
I mean, I guess the Mark's also just mentioning it. He did just face them and shut them out over 7. So
yeah. So it's a viable. Not a lot of these guys are being rostered, and I teased it a little bit earlier, John. Everyone's
playing Cole Irvin.
Cole Irvin and Brandon Pfaadt are getting are the second and third highest rostered pitchers of the slate behind Spencer Strider. The Cole Irvin thing is kind of head scratching. I understand he's facing Colorado, but like we're talking about a guy with really, really small strikeout appeal, right?
Well, not only that. How about pitch count? He got taken out after 77 pitches last game. Does he get to 80, 85? Like, how many pitches does he throw? How many innings? Maybe it's just a 5-inning cap, too. Maybe it's not even a pitch cap, but if it's just 5 innings,
Yeah, I mean, that's not great. Now, I think from start to start, he's gotten 67 to 77. So I could definitely see a scenario where he's well into the 80s and approaching 90. And, I don't think they would just take him out at 5, but you're right. You also don't know. Why at this point, I would just play Fought for $600 more because he did throw 107 pitches in 7 innings his last time out. He is the prolific second drop of prolific today. Prospect, comparing the two,
sure.
I would rather just get to Fought if I'm talking about a chalk value play. I know we skipped over the guy that you most want to play as your SP2, but I'm just saying, it's confusing to me a little bit why Cole Irvin is getting so much love.
Yeah, I mean, it's not confusing in a sense. People are playing Strider.
And it's Colorado.
Yeah, and they're just trying to figure out how can I maximize my bats with Strider, and it's I can just punt a 5K pitcher in a good spot and hope he gives me, I mean, again, 10 innings, 1 earned the last 2 starts is going to make people kind of gravitate towards you here.
Sure.
I obviously like Dane Dunning. Again, double-digit strikeouts in 2 of his last 4. Minnesota has the highest strikeout rate in baseball against right-handed pitching. He's generally a ground ball machine as well, and we know that they hit a lot of home runs. Now, lately, of course, he has also given up a few home runs here, but willing to give Dane Dunning another ride tonight against Minnesota for me in the mid-tier. Mark pointing out that BB he saw was at 3%. Yeah, again, just large slate tournaments, low ownership. If he goes out there and gives you 20 plus fantasy points, you're probably sitting pretty good. So it's not terrible spot. But there wasn't much else after that for me, right? I'm fine going Bassett. I like the 2 top spends you mentioned, obviously Strider and Senga, and then I was getting to Dunning. We sprinkled a little Fought in on the show. Cole Irvin's new, but I guess I could see reasons to get to him. But would you pitch anybody else on this slate?
Probably not. I think it's worth mentioning that, we predicted on the podcast, Dylan Cease is getting a bunch of ownership. He's the 4th highest rostered pitcher of the night, and Bryce Miller is also getting ownership. And that's literally it. No one else is getting any. I mean, Dunning's not getting any ownership. Bybee's not getting any ownership. Bassett's really not getting a lot. So,
yeah.
Strider, Irvin, Fought, Cease, Senga, Miller, and list. All the people that are getting ownership. If you're building 20 lineups, would you have Dylan Cease?
Probably 1 or 2, maybe.
Yeah, definitely lower than the field. Field's getting to him 24% of the time. I would be lower on Dylan Cease.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's not Oakland's not great, but they have a couple of guys. Well, they have 1 guy at least that's hitting the ball right now.
We saw last night right-handed bats that they have hit right-handed pitching. Langoliers went deep twice. Brent Hooker went deep off a righty, and Geloff went deep off a righty. They all hit right-handed pitching extremely well.
Yep, I agree. All right, moving through here over to catcher. What's your catcher play of the day here today?
So the field is getting to Wilson Contreras and Gabriel Moreno, and I think that's mostly where I am as well. We know Wilson Contreras' domination kind of against left-handed pitching this year. He has been really great against lefties, $4,100. And then spending all the way down to Moreno. Moreno had a great game again last night. Again, you said it. like, why not just keep plugging this guy? Even though it was against no, we had a lefty last night. I mean, he crushes lefties, and Hunter Green's obviously different, but
Two or more hits in 4
dude,
of the last 5.
he's been
At
fantastic.
$2,300.
He's getting cheaper. He's actually gotten cheaper. He started at 2,600 during this 2-hit stretch, and now, this guy was one of the top prospects in the Blue Jays system, and was dealt in the Varsho deal. So, I would. I haven't really divvied up. I know there's probably a few other catchers that I would play.
I think Kisner. They have both catchers in their lineup tonight. Contreras and Kisner. Kisner, 345,000 OPS his last 10
keeps
games.
Hitting, dude. Keeps hitting.
10 homers on the year. Why not at $2,900? Pivoting down off of him. So that's kind of where I went with lineups. It was Moreno and Kisner for me tonight. If I was spending up, I could see getting Contreras, but I also like Adley a lot tonight against Freeland. Are people playing Baltimore tonight against Kyle Freeland?
Yeah, they're pretty highly rostered tonight. The White Sox again are the highest projected roster team. They're going to get Sean Newcomb as the long man in this game, and Newcomb's only pitched 1 inning this year. Wasn't actually terrible for the Braves.
I was going to say he was a top 10 prospect in their system, but again, they didn't hold on to him, so that's all you need to know. So.
That's the tell, right?
He didn't get the extension, so him and Tuki Tucson are out there flying around.
Well, we saw Tuki Tucson last start. Baltimore is going to get rostered. They actually have they have 2 catchers in their lineup tonight too. James McCann. McCann's actually getting some ownership. I'll throw Shea Langoliers back in the mix, John, too. He hit double donged yesterday and has 4 home runs his last 4 games.
Sure.
All he does is hit home runs against right-handed pitching. So I'll give him another chance. Cease is not one to shut everyone down.
No, not lately. Not anymore.
Not lately.
First base for me, the guy that I plugged in my lineups is Bryce Harper. Again, it's Miles Mikolas here tonight. Just current form, Bryce looks locked in. 5 homers over his last 10 here, really starting to come around. Where are you going at first base tonight?
I am also getting there, but if a pivot spend, I would definitely take a look at Pete Alonso, who has really got monster numbers against left-handed pitching. 339 ISO, 378 WOBA, both lead the Mets. And we know, like, he is in a little bit of a slump, but that slump can change with a double dong at any point. He has as much power as anybody else in baseball. So, other than Bryce, who I think is the top first baseman, I will be sprinkling in some Pete Alonso as well.
Sure. Mid-tier guys that I know that we're likely going to be in on here today. Mountcastle hitting second tonight at $4,500. Yep. Casas against Lance Lynn, if that game goes off at $4,400. Again, lefties against Lynn, certainly a pretty favorable matchup for us here. For me in the mid-tier, those were the 2 that I targeted.
Yeah, those are basically the 2 we should target. Like, there's not a lot else. You could play Alec Boehm if you want, if you're playing Philly, but why would you play him over Bryce? That feels silly. You could just play Boehm at third if you wanted. And then you get below 5K, and I think there's some decent options. Is Brandon Belt going to belt one again? I don't know. Bibby's he's been really good against lefties. He's struggled a little more against right-handed bats this year. So that also is a little concerning for facing the Blue Jays, considering what they have 6 righties in their lineup tonight, just 3 lefties with Kiermaier hitting 9th. So I don't think I'm going to be getting to Brandon Belt. I would take a shot on Seth Brown if you're playing Oakland, just for the off chance he hits a home run. It's literally, that's all Seth Brown can do at this point, hit home runs, but I would take a shot on Seth Brown.
Fair enough. Anybody else for total punt plays? Are you good enough to move on?
I guess Noda as well. If I'm playing Seth Brown, might as well play the better punt first baseman for Oakland. Right? Ryan Noda's a little better than Seth Brown.
Sure. Moving on over to second base then here this evening. I know you were a big guy on Mookie Betts here last night. Really no reason not to be on him again if that weather holds out, right?
Yeah. I've said it like a bunch lately, and when we looked at it, it was only a 500 average, John, for Mookie. And since he went 5 for 5 in game one and then 2 for 3 in game two, it is now a 579 over his
Yeah.
last 10 games. Again, like he might find his way winning the MVP over Acuna. Like I know the stolen bases are obviously something that Acuna will have in that department, but like Mookie might end up hitting like 325 with like 45 home runs and 120 RBIs by the season's end. Like we're not even in September yet.
Right.
And Mookie's at 30, 49, 100 runs and like he is what he is right now. I don't need to add much else. He's my top spend until further notice right now.
Sure. We mentioned Zach Geloff last position, but obviously a guy against Cease we like, even with the price keep going up, he keeps on producing. When we go down into the mid-tier range, we have Tommy Edman leading off against lefty, always a guy that we're willing to throw in there. I like Bryson Stott. Again, I'm in on Philly tonight against Miles here. $4,300 for Stott feels like a pretty strong mid-tier option as well.
Yep, those are the exact two guys I was taking a look at in the mid-tier.
Value plays then. What value second basemen are sticking out to you tonight?
Jordan Westburg is hitting 7th, second base, third base eligibility. He did hit better against right-handed pitching in the minor leagues. He's been very average against lefties. So, like, you know, if you're playing Baltimore, I don't hate the idea of playing Jordan Westburg. I kind of like Brendan Rodgers against a lefty. He's always been good against left-handed pitching. And, you know, no one's playing the Rockies. Obviously, everyone's playing Cole Irvin. So
Right.
if you want to get to Brendan Rodgers hitting in the middle of their lineup. And then Jay Juan Bay is $3,000. He has been a little better of late. And we know, like, the stolen base appeal of Jay Juan Bay. Just don't love him hitting 7th. Like, yeah. If he was leading off, I'd probably be like higher on him. Not that like he can't do plenty of damage, but like, you know, hitting in front of Brian Hayes and Brian Reynolds are different than hitting in front of who he's hitting in front of. Or,
sure.
You know,
sure. I just like him for the stolen base upside again. He has 21 stolen bases now. He had 20 before he got hurt. You know, could be a spot where they'd run on Hendricks here tonight.
Right.
So,
right.
I don't mind that. I'm also in on Massey here again. I know KC Massey himself, you know, not the hottest hitter in the world here, but the KC offense has been decent outside of that last game against Oakland. Massey's been decent really outside of that last game against Oakland where he went 0 for 4. But willing to go back, hit some top part of that lineup, and if you're not in on Bryce Miller, KC could be a spot to go here this evening.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm not finding myself that game is one of those like I have not gotten a lot of exposure to.
Sure. It's definitely more of a one-off play if you're on that game. If you're playing Bobby Witt and you're not looking to stack everybody else, but like I do like Melendez, I do like Witt here in this game. So for me, I could see myself getting to that a little bit.
Okay.
Third base, a lot of top-end talent here. Again, Riley, Devers, Machado, Arenado versus the lefty. You will have Ramirez hitting left side against Bassett. Gunnar, even though it's lefty, don't mind that spot for him. How are you ranking out these top third basemen tonight?
I mean, Devers, I think, is one if that game's going to play, just given what we know about Lance Lynn and the power that he's allowed against everybody, but left-handed bats specifically. I would say Devers, Arenado, and that's maybe Max Muncy amongst the 5K guys. That's probably it. Those are probably the only exposures I'd get. I'm okay playing Gunnar against Kyle Freeland. He's been pretty bad against lefties overall, though. So,
yeah, no, I understand. Moving down the list here to the mid-tier. Again, I was playing Brian Hayes in this range. He's just been so hot. It's like, and I don't think much of Kendricks here. So I'd be willing to run out some Hayes at 44.
Yeah, he's been really good since the All-Star break in general. So I'm okay playing Hayes 44. I'm also I know you're not going to like this, but I'm okay getting to Royce Lewis. Righties, lefties, he's hitting them all. Back-to-back games with a home run. He went 3 for 3 yesterday. Now up to 330 on the year. And like there is, as you mentioned, like Dunning is a ground baller. He also gives up home runs. He does both of those things. And righties over the last 30 days do have a 177 isolated power against Dane Dunning. Bryce Lewis does have a 180 isolated power over the last 30 days against right-handed pitching. So
Sure.
I think Lewis could be someone that gives us a cheap home run.
All right. Yeah. I mean, again, if you're not in on Dane Dunning, I don't certainly hate going Twins. Twins have been one of our favorite teams to use all season long here. Was there any other value third baseman? To me, this position felt a little weak once you got off past the top guys.
Yeah, I would say Novi Marte for the Reds would be the only like punt option, and only because we're starting to see like the upside when he reaches base. 3 stolen bases over his last 5 games. And we've now gotten hits in 3 or 4, doubles in 2 of those games. He's a really talented dude who, and the long list of like these teams that suck for so long. And I mean, he is a guy who's stolen a bunch of bases in the minors. So
Sure.
as much as I like Brandon Pfaadt, other than the San Diego start, it's not like he hasn't been touched up, right? So if Marte gets a couple hits, we could see a couple stolen bases. Pretty good ceiling at $2,800.
I will say, going back to that Boston Dodgers game, because we talked about watching the weather here, just doing an updated weather report from the weather.com channel here. Their hourly forecast has no rain in the area until midnight again tonight. So basically, looking like that game should be fine. It says there's like a 15% chance of precipitation basically throughout the night. So looks like Boston and LA could be a go here this evening.
Great news. Great news.
Moving on over to shortstop. Again, I like Bobby Witt. I always play Bobby Witt anyway, so that's not really new to anybody here. And why not? Guy's hitting 372, 5 homers, 3 stolen bases his last 10. Is an absolute stud. So no problems for me spinning up for him as a one-off play. You do have Lindor against a pretty bad lefty in Sandoval. I know that's been a spot that we've looked to target a lot this season. Where are you going when it comes to the top shortstops?
Yeah, and Lindor's been amazing lately. 400 with 1,000 OPS over his last 10 games. And we know he has some monster games, especially lately. I mean, we're starting to see like stolen base Lindor coming back. He now, magically 23 home runs, 22 RBI or 22 stolen bases is going to be another year where we end the year, another guy, 100 runs, 30 home runs, probably 90 RBI, 30 stolen bases for Lindor. Just like wrote this guy off, and he's having a great year. So I like Lindor. I like Trey Turner if you're playing Philadelphia. Those would probably be my top 2 targets outside of Bobby Witt.
Sure. Moving into the mid-tier range here, we mentioned obviously Edman already. I don't mind taking a stab with Willie Adames because he's on another one of those like heaters here.
Yep.
I know Darvish has been a guy that we've targeted to use in our lineups lately. But you have Adames at home versus a righty in the form we want him in. So we didn't mention pitching Darvish tonight against Milwaukee. I don't know if he's in your player pool or not, but I think Adames could be a guy to use against him this evening.
Yeah, I mean, like you just mentioned, righties check, at home check. Like that's what Willie Adames does. And Darvish, although been worse against lefties this year, we know the propensity for power allowed. I will say, like, I've been kind of an Ezekiel Tovar truther this year.
You have been, yeah.
And he continues to be really good of late. And he's hitting second against Cole Irvin, who doesn't miss bats. Let's face it. Like, he doesn't strike anyone out. Righties have given Cole Irvin fits. 179 ISO, 332 WOBA this year. And Tovar on the year, 208 ISO against left-handed pitching leads the team. 331 WOBA second on the team. So I'd be okay getting to Ezekiel Tovar at 4,300 against Irvin just to be a little contrarian.
Sure. The other one I throw in my lineup just for the punt play is Mason Wynn here. Again, I know he hasn't been any great shakes, but they keep putting him in their lineup. It's ninth, and he's $2,500.
Yeah, he's going to keep playing. I mean, they're not in playoff contention. He's their shortstop of the future. And, maybe we did get something the last couple days. Hits in 2 straight. We got a stolen base yesterday.
Yep. That's where I'm at. Outfield position here. Acuna, Otani, Betts, the top 4 guys there, or 3 guys there rather. Bellinger and Tatis are all over 6K. Any of the top 3 for me, I'm fine going with. Keller, you mentioned starting to pitch a little bit better. Does that put you off of Chicago tonight?
I mean, he still had problems with lefties. So like, if you wanted to get to Bellinger, obviously you could do that. But he has, he had coming off 12 strikeouts last game, so that's worth mentioning. But the Cubs offense is still fine if you want to get there.
Sure. We called it on last night's show, James. I think you actually called it. Corbin Carroll breaking his home run drought. Another 2 hits for Corbin Carroll. Homered last night. Hunter Green on the mound. We know Hunter Green strikes guys out, but he also not very good. So would you consider Corbin Carroll maybe being #back at $5,700?
Seems like he's back, dude. He looks pretty good at the plate. Like, I don't know what he did to he's playing every day. So what did he do to fix his shoulder? I don't know.
They got him leading off tonight now,
Yeah, I like getting up to Corbin Carroll. Hunter Green has allowed a ton of power this year and last year. I mean, the old adage, John, the faster it comes in, the faster it goes out, right?
That's 102 going in, 102 going out. So
yeah. So I'm perfectly fine getting to Corbin Carroll. I don't know how many people are going to get to Arizona tonight. I guess they're moderately owned. They're actually near the top half of the league or top half of the ownership tonight, which is kind of surprising considering Hunter Green is someone who has a pretty high ceiling, but he does have a very low floor when the fastball isn't fastballing,
Right. Yep, they hit the straight ball good.
Yes.
Julio Rodriguez here at 56, Lewis Robert at 55, and Kyle Schwarber also at 55 are also 3 guys I have no problems finding myself getting to this evening.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if all 3 of those guys had a home run by night's end, right? It would not be surprising.
If I saw asking about Marsh, Marsh isn't bad. I also like Jake Cave tonight as well. He's $2,500, so I think you can really go. My core stack tonight was Philly. Spoiler alert for when we do the Call of Fame segment here. I have a lot of Philadelphia in my lineups tonight, so getting to him, Castellanos, Harper, Stott, and the value outfielders all in play for me tonight. Now that we know Boston's playing, you got to like Yoshida Verdugo pairing here, yes?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I mean, for as good as Lance Lynn's been, we know the struggles, and it's been lefties. In Boston, they got a lot of lefties at the top of their lineup.
What's their line? They only have Turner probably, right? Verdugo, Devers, Turner. So they got 3 lefties. Duvall splitting up Casas. They threw Reese McGuire in there. So 5 lefties in their lineup today.
No Williard tonight, John.
That is true. That is kind of
they're DHing Justin Turner, and so they're playing Pablo Reyes and Story while DHing Turner. So that's where
I think Duvall. I mean, hard to take Duvall out of the lineup. He's
you can't.
3 of the 4 games. So, but Weiler, Weiler would have been an interesting spot for him tonight, given the lefty matchup for sure. How are you approaching Atlanta? We talked about this in the show last night. You said no one was probably going to play them because it's going up against Logan Webb here, but that offense is firing. Marcell Ozuna has been an absolute monster. So has Eddie Rosario. Do you find yourself with a low rostered Braves stack tonight?
So, I feel like I'd be taking crazy pills, and I feel like nobody should watch us if we said, you can't play Braves. I understand Logan Webb's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher. It's a very bad ballpark to hit in, but Atlanta's the best offense in baseball, and they're, with a bullet, right? It's just Atlanta, space, field.
Dodgers.
Yeah, Dodgers. But, 1 to 9, I don't think even the Dodgers can can touch, because we're getting
even though weak link is Arcia, who's
at 300 homers.
Yeah.
And Michael Harris, the rookie of the year last year, hitting 9th for 3/4 of the year. Atlanta has 4.2 implied runs tonight, and nobody's playing them. So, I mean, look, you want leverage? You want the best team in baseball offensively at low ownership? Tonight is your night, right? So, well, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're my favorite stack, but I would, if playing multiple lineups, I would not be hesitant to get to the Braves.
Sure. Moving down a little bit time to this 4K, lower 4K range. We mentioned Verdugo, Rosario. If you're not playing Font, would you go against Font here? Friedel leading off at 44?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, dude, Font's been better since the call up, but like when you look at the numbers, lefty's 246 ISO, 384 WOBA. Like that, pretty bad. And not that the Reds have like a ton of lefties. They're only
Ellie and Friedel.
They're batting Nick Martini.
Okay.
Not the drink, the player, 5th. He is an outfielder. He's batting 5th. Let me rephrase. Not Will Benson, who's batting 8th. Batting Nick Martini, 5th. Okay. But those are their 4 lefties.
Sure. Again, don't mind Lourdes against Green. Teoscar's been hot lately. I do like Santander at 4K tonight as well. Mark asking about Benny Biceps tonight.
No, don't do that again.
Power hitter.
You did it again.
You know what? Waldo Suck wasn't sucky for 4 innings last night, and the 5th inning came, and he was very bad.
Yeah. Outside the Benintendi home run, he was good.
Like literally outside of that for 4 innings, and then all of a sudden he just getting unloaded on. Again, if you're not playing Dunning, Kepler's a good value down here. Jack Swinski is not hitting literally anything, but power.
He does this.
I do like Melendez at 35.
Tyler O'Neill at 35 against the lefty.
Yeah, Tyler O'Neill hitting second tonight at $3,500 is pretty good. Wallner fits that bill as well if you're not in on Dunning this evening. Varsho's 33. Pretty good. DePrince, you didn't miss the FanDuel plays. We'll get them for you.
We got you, dude. We got you. Don't worry.
We're running down value outfielders now. Perk your ears up, son. We got Marsh. Marsh at 32. Someone mentioned in chat earlier. Faisal. Marsh is in play if you want to get Cave, though, is $2,500. This is the guy that I have in my lineups tonight. I mean, 3 homers over his last 10 as like a part-time player. You saw what he did here in the stretch when he was playing 4 straight days, 3 homers and 6 RBI during that stretch here. So, and he's had like runs like this before when he played for like Minnesota. I think was he on Detroit?
Ex-Yankee great, Jake.
Was he? Yeah. So, I don't mind that. Palacios is $2,500. Alec Thomas is hitting 6 tonight at $2,500. There's a good amount of value plays that I think you could find yourself throwing to this evening. Hayward is 28. I mean, listen, I like Carter Crawford, but this isn't the lineup to pitch him against. Peralta's 3K.
Yep.
Feels like a pretty good spot for him there as well. So a good group of guys here under $4,000 tonight. And if you're looking for the pitching tonight, DePrince, again, we're not really fooling around with it. We're going Strata, but we think you can get to Senga as well over on FanDuel. Bassett, I think, is another guy that we were kind of in on. I like Dane Dunning. And I don't know what the FanDuel rostership looks like, but on DraftKings, you said a lot of people are playing Cole Irvin. Are people playing Cole Irvin on FanDuel?
Font and Irvin are 2nd and 3rd highest rostered pitchers on DraftKings.
So 2 guys spending down on FanDuel. So
FanDuel, no, let me look on FanDuel. FanDuel, it's Strider, Cease, Miller is where everyone's going.
Okay. Not where I'm going. So play a contrarian Senga if you don't want to go Spencer Strider, I guess.
Yeah, I mean Senga's 10.9 on FanDuel. That is very expensive. He's 5%. Strider's 12K.
Yeah, it's still a discount.
Right. They're both. That's the problem. That's why people are getting to Cease and Miller, because you have 2 pitchers nearly $11,000 that like.
Sure. Yeah, Bassett's 9K on there. Dunning is 8K. Feels really good. Fott's 75. Irvin 62 over there. So a couple of FanDuel plays for you. Let's go to the Call of Fame. We got a couple minutes left in the show. What's your home run call for tonight?
I'm gonna go Pete Alonso over at first base.
Pete Alonso. Okay, I am gonna go. Give me Raffy Devers. I'll go Devers.
You know what? I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna go to Bryce Harper.
Okay.
Because I like the way that roster is gonna be constructed with Bryce better than
Alonso. Let's top stack. I already mentioned mine earlier. I like Philly tonight. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go Baltimore. I take it back. I'm going the Dodgers with no rain. Yeah, I'm going with no rain. I'm going Dodgers.
What's your contrarian play today?
No one's gonna play Boston. I'm just gonna stack that game at a 10.5 total.
Okay.
No one's playing Boston.
Are you gonna be able to pitch Strider with the Dodgers Boston stack? Probably not, right?
Probably not. But doesn't mean you can't play multiple lineups and use different variations of those stacks.
Fine. For me, I'm gonna go Braves. I guess you said no one's playing Atlanta, so I'll go Atlanta for my contrarian play today.
Not Asol.
Value play for you.
Brandon Fott. He's gonna fight for our money tonight.
I got Jake Cave. I already said that. That's my value play for tonight. $2,500 in the outfield. All right, let's build a lineup. Strider and I guess Fott. You just called him out as your value play. $5,600.
Cave in the outfield.
Yeah, Cave in the outfield. Moreno in the infield as catcher.
Price at first.
Moreno. Harper Devers.
Yep.
$3,800. Let's see. Second baseman. Where was our Jaquan?
If we could get to Mookie, I would love to get to Mookie. I just don't know if it's possible.
$2,900 for a shortstop and an outfielder. There was definitely value outfielders down here.
There was a lot of value outfielders. Yep.
Gives us a $3,300 shortstop, which we know there's Mason Wynn, so we could flip this around and go win, or we could play win. We'll play win. We'll just see what the outfield gets us. $3,300 for an outfield that feels a little bit better. Got Varsho, got Marsh.
Marsh. Marsh.
I like Peralta.
Peralta hitting fifth, yeah.
Yep, Peralta hitting fifth. So that's an example lineup for tonight that we got built out for everybody. Justin Vreeland's got the playbook out there already. If you're not yet a Fantasy Alarm member, now's the time to do it. I know you got your fantasy football drafts coming up, so why not get and become a part of the Fantasy Alarm family today? You get the Fantasy Football Draft Guide and Cheat Sheet for free. When you become an All-Pro member right now, we have the QR code that you click on. You click on the link in the description. Again, it comes with all premium accents for all sports, not just baseball. Basketball is coming up. Football's here. NHL is here. We cover all the sports. Get DFS content and seasonal content included. Access to our premium Discord channels where you get live answers from myself, Grande, Howard Bender, Andrew Cooper, the whole crew. And they're answering your questions in those premium Discord channels. You can share your lineups with us. We'll give you lineup advice, start sit advice, all the great things there when you scan that QR code. And right now, the annual package is 40% off the month-to-month package. So you go there, scan the QR code, or go to fantasyalarm.com/win. You sign up for the annual package, you'll save 40%. So you're basically getting 6 months free at that point. You're getting off the month-to-month price. So hard to beat that. You can sign it up today, get us for a year for 40% off the price there and access to everything you got going on here over at Fantasy Alarm today. James and I will be back on Monday. If you have any questions, get us on Twitter, get us in Discord. We'll be there. Good luck. Have a great weekend, and we will catch you guys later.